Peter Moon from Cooper Mills Lawyers, and I also write the Hands-On Technology column in the Australian Financial Review. Some people think that blockchain technology is the biggest technological development since the invention of the World Wide Web. So I hope you find this 5-minute introduction useful. It seems like everybody's talking about blockchain these days, but what is it? Put simply, it's a new kind of database. 30 years ago, accounting and banking and ultimately all kinds of record keeping were revolutionised because we discovered that transactions can be carried out and records can be kept on computers much more efficiently than they can be on paper. Well, blockchain is the next great leap forward for databases. We've discovered that we can use the internet and the computers connected to it to process transactions incredibly efficiently and to store records about them extremely securely. The blockchain concept is built on two big ideas. First, store records like financial transactions, property ownership, academic results and so on in a database that's extraordinarily hard to tamper with or forge. Second, keep thousands of copies of the data all over the internet. So even if someone could make a fake version, they'd need to hack a vast number of computers to succeed in replacing the real data with the fraudulent data. Step 1. Creating a nut that's too hard to crack. The blockchain collects transactions, and transactions, of course, create records. Now, every so often, the records that have been generated are wrapped up in a kind of electronic seal. Now, the genius of this seal is that it's a complicated mathematical fingerprint that is effectively unique for the data that's wrapped up inside it. And it's calculated using the combined power of thousands of computers that are responsible for the blockchain. In one case, that's the famous Bitcoin that you may have heard of, a new seal is wrapped around the historical data, including all the previous seals, every 10 minutes. And it's created by about 10,000 computers that invest an aggregate of roughly 1,667 hours of computing time to create each new seal. Every 10 minutes, the blockchain network adds another seal around the records, requiring another 1,667 hours of aggregated computing time to create. Now, if you wanted to enter a fake record in the register, say 24 hours earlier, you would need to recalculate the seal that was wrapped around the record at that time. But you'd also need to recalculate every one of the 143 other seals, that's 6 more an hour over the 24 hours, that the blockchain network has added since. That would be a total of 240,048 hours of computing power, and that's a fantastic amount of processing power. And of course, while you're forging the record that was created 24 hours ago, the blockchain network is still adding its 6 extra seals an hour. To forge a single transaction, you would need to outrun thousands and thousands of computers, and as far as we know, it can't be done. Step 2. Replicate the data all over the internet. Imagine you could create a fake version of the database. Well, copies of the real version are always distributed widely over the internet. You might need to hack into thousands of systems and, without being detected, substitute your fraud for the real thing. Imagine someone gave you 1,000 copies of a perfect forgery of the 1st January 2001 edition of the New York Times, with just one paragraph altered. And they dared you to substitute it for every copy of the real New York Times, stored in hundreds and hundreds of US libraries, the Library of Congress, the Kremlin archives, and the microfiches of thousands of international institutions. The task of getting your fake copy of the newspaper or your fake copy of the BitChain database assuming that you have the unbelievable computing power that's necessary to create a fake copy, the task of getting it into circulation is inconceivably difficult. Now, it's important to understand that blockchain is not a single system. It's an idea for building transactional and record-keeping systems. Just like many computer database systems have come and gone, but databases are here to stay, we'll see many blockchain examples come and go. But the experts are confident that the principles of blockchain are here to stay. Blockchain promises a way for the world to do business and keep records faster and more securely than we've ever dreamed of. And that's why every major bank and universities and governments and stock exchanges and many innovative tech startups are carefully investigating its potential to change the way that the world and governments do business.